let's get this thing started. I think this is funny because I have so many people asking me about investing all day, every day. And I did this one, and I've got Vanessa and Allison here. So thank you guys. I know this one's going to be watched a lot and rewatched and rewatched. So please pay attention to this video because this is about flipping. So we've talked some about wholesaling, and wholesaling's it's kind of tricky as a realtor. It's a hard thing to do and do correctly. So go back and watch the wholesaling videos. Basically, that's where most people start when they come to investing. It's tricky for realtors because if you are doing this for a client, it becomes a bad thing. So the next thing that we want to talk about is how to flip. Like a lot of people see these flipping shows like HGTV and all this wonderful stuff, and they want to flip. They want to flip. I'm going to be a flipper, and we're going to do all this stuff, and I'm going to make $1 million just like all these other people. And I'm here to kind of encourage it because we are in real estate. That's what we do. And that is why we formed White Line, is because we wanted people to not be scared of investing as a real estate agent. Most of the big box brokers won't let you invest because they know that it gets a little hairy when it comes to things. So, which is fine. But flipping's pretty easy to do. Once again, it's really hard if you are representing your client and you're trying to buy their house to flip. Do not do that. If you're representing somebody, you need to sell it to somebody else, period, the end. Do not sit there and it's like, well, it's been on the market so long, and then can I buy it from you from this price? Because you're not acting in their best interest. So if you're buying a property to flip, make sure you're buying it from a third-party source, and make sure that you disclose that you are a realtor. Section 4 of the 1 to 4 family contract is there's a license disclosure. If you're part of that transaction, so you can say the buying person is a licensed real estate agent. You need to put that in line for the contract of any house you buy to flip, first and foremost. So what I wanted to show you all today is what a lot of people think flipping is. So I'm gonna try and share my screen so y'all can see this. And this is gonna be a lot about numbers because flipping in general, people have a very, very incorrect assumption of how to do it. And a lot of people go to flip and they can't seem to do it. They are like, this sucks and I've lost money and I'm never going to do it again. Can you see this spreadsheet, everybody? Yes? Yeah. Cool. Mm-hmm. Okay. So a lot of people think this is it. So this is flipping right here, and we're going to use this example. I'm going to buy this house for $50,000. That is my purchase price. I'm going to spend $25,000 on rehab, and then I'm going to sell it for 100. Actually, you know what? We're going to do the one that I'm looking at today, the one that we'll use in this conversation. So I'm buying it for $55,000. I think there's $54,000 in rehab. I'm going to sell it for $144,000. So what's our math on that one, guys, right? Our math would be what we sold it for minus what we rehabbed minus what we paid for it. So I should be making $35,000 on this transaction. And it's not the way it works. It's never the way it works. That's if you use these numbers exactly correctly according to what we're doing. So this is an actual house that I went to go see the other day. I went and looked at it on Saturday, and I submitted an offer. This is a friend of mine's friend who knows this lady that's had this rental forever. She's like, I just want to dump it. I want to get rid of it. Let's go look. So the first thing I do when I flip a house is, everybody, you've heard this 1,000 times. You make money when you buy. You have to buy your house very intelligently. So this is actually the paperwork that I used for this particular transaction to find out what I thought the house was worth. So what I did is, the first thing I do is I run comps. When you run comps, you need to be very, very careful about running comps, especially when you're looking at a flip. Because when you're running comps, you're looking for something called an ARV. And if you see, I have it right here, which stands for after repair value. So I'm looking for what I think this house will sell for when it's done. So when I go looking for comps, I'm looking for houses that look nice, that look like I think I'm going to flip this house to. So I don't want to get into like really going through and running comps, because that's not really what the purpose of this one is. But if you're looking at houses that have granite countertops and marble floors and just like all this over the top stuff, and you're not willing to do that to your house, you're going to shoot yourself in the foot. You need to be looking at where you think this rehab is going to go. So as you can see, the house is 1,150 square feet. It's in Kirby, Texas, which, you know, it's over on the east side of San Antonio. not the greatest area. There's not a lot of just massive houses. This is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, which does sell well. So that's why I liked it and I wanted to put an offer on it. So when I ran the comps, I was looking for houses that are fairly close to this, what I think I'll be done with. I wasn't looking for anything extravagant over the top. I'm making sure that these houses don't have pools because mine didn't have a pool. I'm not going to put into it. I'm making sure I'm doing 1-story to 1-story, all of this, because this is the most important thing. And this is how you get good at running comps, is when you start putting your own money on the line, you start really paying attention to what before and afters look like. So, and I also don't want to include in these comps, not only things that are way over the top, I also don't want to put in any turds. So if some houses out there are selling in the MLS for $50 a square foot, there's something going on with this, and I go look at the pictures and sure enough, it's a giant turd. So I'm like, no, that's not going to be included. I'm looking for what I think my house will be repaired after. So I found 4 comps, excuse me, that were all 3-bedroom, 2-bath, that were in the same neighborhood, about same size, same this. And when I get that close, when I find houses that are that similar, I'm just going to average the square footage. That's for me personally. As you know, go watch the comps video. For this one, these were all pretty close, so I wanted to see what the sell price was per square foot. That's going to give me a good indicator as a flipper about where I think I can sell this house for on average. As you can see, we were anywhere from 117 to 137. That gives me an average square foot price of 125. So that's going to be pretty close to where we're at. I could add, subtract, room size, all that game, but just for the sake of doing this quickly, that's how I did it. Now, if I was comparing 2 stories and 1 stories, I would not use an average square foot price. I'd change my method, but this one worked for this one. Total square foot. So I think an after repair value for this house is $144,000. That is what I think I could sell it for. What am I going to list it for? Probably $149, if I'm going to be honest, because I know I'm going to settle somewhere around $144. Okay, a few seller's concessions, whatever it might be. So I know the after repair value is going to be $144. I'll probably list it for $149. The way most flippers think about this is you have to have a built-in master, like straight up, I refuse to take anything less than. And for me, I refuse to take anything less than 25% profit on a deal. That's pretty standard in the industry, just in case you're wondering. Some people will work with thinner margins. Some people will take 15 or 20% profit. Some people refuse to do a deal if they're not making 50% profit. In San Antonio, that's really hard to find right now, but it's not impossible. But so for a starting point, I'm going to say I want to make 25% profit. So if I know my house will sell for $144, 25% profits means I need to be all in for $108,000. What does that mean? Well, what's my rehab? What do I think the rehab is going to cost? Guys, I've been doing this for quite a while. I've spent a lot of time hanging out with Eric and looking at his houses. I've probably helped estimate, hundreds of rehabs and been around people that are doing it. So you kind of get the hang of it as you're going. But if you're new to this, you definitely want to go get all your tradespeople in there. If you need to tie the contract up and put an option period so you can do that, great. If you want to talk to somebody or go through books or however you want to do it, if it's your first time, definitely get your tradespeople out there. Get your general contractor, get all those people, have them all in line, ready to go, and make this. God, I could talk for hours about this. If you've got good relationships with people, they'll go out and give you a quote for free. If you're a first-time person and you send this person out to go quote you 17 jobs and you never buy a house, you're going to start burning bridges real quick. So be careful with this. Or find a good general contractor that knows a lot of the different trades and can give you good roundabout numbers. When I walked the property, there was foundation issues. I'm assuming it's going to be about 10 grand on foundation. I think it's going to need somewhere around 40 piers, plus whatever work comes with that. The foundation problems, it is it is a concrete slab. So if I pop any pipes, I added in 2 grand. I'm assuming 1 pipe break just because of where it's located, which we'll get into all of that later. The roof, flooring, retiling both the showers at $800. There's small showers with tubs in them, so it's not going to be too expensive. New interior paint, new exterior paint, new cabinets. By the way, those are IKEA cabinets. Okay, I know my guys will get those cabinets. I can spend about $500. They'll charge me about $1,000 to put it up. New countertops, new appliances, fence, permits. Permits are a very big deal, guys, and I'm going to explain why in just a minute. Plumbing repairs, electrical repairs. electrical updating with the box and all that, demo and dump, where are you going to throw all this stuff away? You need to get dumpsters, and my miscellaneous. I'm going to go through this in more detail, probably on a later one when we actually talk about rehabbing and like what we have to do and like what we think about things. That's not the scope of this one, but basically what I'm saying is I think the rehab number is going to be $54,000 in rehab. So with my all-in cost of 108, if I think there's 54 in rehab, that means my maximal allowable offer is $54,107. So when I walked out of there, the lady's friend, anyways, she asked me, she goes, "Where do you think you'll be?" And I said, somewhere between 50 and 60. And I said, but I need to run my numbers. And that's just because I've been doing it a while, came out $54,000. So I was right on my hip shot guess, but I always run my numbers before I actually formally make an offer. So my offer is $54,107.91. So with that being said, everybody would assume that this number, whoopsie, would be 100% correct. So I buy it for 55, I rehab it for 54. Everybody would think that I'm going to make $35,000 on this flip. Oh my God, Colin, you're going to make so much money, you're taking us to dinner. Well, there's more to it than that, as you probably imagined. So the first thing is, unless I have $108,000 in cash sitting around, I'm going to have to borrow some money. Okay. I borrow money for all of my flips. Unfortunately, I mean, I don't have $108,000 to go pour into a project. Okay. That's not what I have. So I'm going to borrow this money, and I'm going to borrow it from a hard money lender. So I'm sure you've heard about that. It's called hard money because it's very expensive money. Borrowing money from anybody, you pay interest. The less interest, the less expensive it is. The more interest, the more expensive it is. I do spend a lot of time evaluating hard money lenders. There's a bunch of them out there. They all want to loan you money because they make a ton of money off of it. So, but you need to evaluate these guys. What do you charge? How do you work? What's going on? So we're going to assume that I'm going to buy this house. I haven't bought it yet, but we'll go over some of the ones I have bought, and I'll show you that. But let's assume that I buy it and I get the house under contract. So the next thing I need to think about is my money. Okay. So I go to the hard money guy and I say, hey, look, I want to buy this house. By the way, hard money guys, they tend to treat you better if you have better credit. They are going to check to make sure you don't have any bankruptcies. They are going to check all this stuff. They're a little bit more lenient than banks for sure. If you can go to a bank and get this kind of loan, which I don't think they'll actually finance the rehab, that's the nice part. So my hard money guy is asking me for 10% down on this project, actually 15% down, sorry. He's asking me for 15% down on this project, and they will give me 100% of the rehab money. So basically, to buy this house, I got to show up with $8,000. He's going to lend me the rest plus another $54,000 so I can do the rehab on it. So that's a really nice deal. I've only got to show up now with $8,000. My total loan will be $99,000. So right at $100, $100,000 is what I'm going to borrow from this guy. Now, when I go to get this loan, they charge origination points. I'm trying to talk them down to 2 points. Most of the time, they're going to charge 3, maybe 4 points. I know I can get them down to 3. I'm trying to get them down to 2. Now, that is a fee that I pay those guys simply for the privilege of working with them. Okay? They have, well, I mean, I say that, but they do have to originate it. They got to check your homework. They got to check the property. They got to do all this stuff. So I'm paying him at the beginning of the loan, $3,000. Okay? Some of them will let you put the points on the back end. If you do that, like on the back end, meaning you pay your points when you sell it, they tend to jack that up. So maybe we go to 4 points, right? Well, that's another $1,000. I'd rather not. I'd rather keep my $1,000 and pay you up front. That's my thought process. Plus, they're going to charge you interest. So during the period of the loan, every month, and my guy's always on the first of the month, I make interest payments, and it's an interest-only loan. My interest with this guy right now is 9.5%. I've seen some of them charge as high as 15%. The more experience you have, the lower that rate tends to get. The more deals you take to them, the lower that rate gets to be. It's just like anybody else. The more you work with them, the more money you can save. Let's say we're at 9.5%. That means on the first of every month, I'm going to be writing this guy a check for $791. That is going to come out of my pocket. $791 every month. Plus, like any other lender, they've got fees. You're going to have to get an appraisal or some BPO or something like that. Some of them require it, some of them don't. This guy does. There's also some other paper handling fees. I think this guy's $1,000 plus whatever I pay at title. So if I say I will pay the title insurance, I will pay whatever it is I need, I'm just going to roundabout say there's $3,000 just in paperwork, deed recording, title insurance, whatever it is. Because I'm going to tell this lady, I'll pay for everything except taxes and liens. So let's say the title company charges me $3,000. With that being said, in order to buy this house, I need to have $15,764 available to buy this house. Because what I'm paying for is the down payment of 15%, the points to the lender, the fees that are associated with this. This is what it cost me to get into the house. Okay. The other thing I need to consider is how long do I think this rehab will take? And I'm saying that not as how long will this rehab take? Like, oh, my guys will be done in 3 months. You also need to consider selling time. So right now alone from start to finish on a house is taking about 45 days. So that's a month and a half extra. The houses in this market, none of them were over 15 days. So that means it's going to take me 2 weeks to sell it and 6 weeks to close the deal. So that's 2 months right there. Plus, I think my guys are going to take about 4 months to actually do the work. So I'm going to round and say about 6 months in rehab. So every month, I'm going to need $791. For 6 months, that's $4,700. So my holding cost will be almost $5,000. You'll hear a lot of flippers saying, my holding costs are killing me, right? I've got 4 houses that are in rehab right now. So the first of the month, what is today, the 3rd or something? We just had the first of the month. That's a shock when I have 4 of these interest payments just hit my bank account. It hurts, okay? You got to be prepared for that. A lot of people think, I got $15,000, I'm going to go buy this house. You better damn well have at least 20 because those interest payments are going to keep happening. So you got to make sure. So this is where a lot of people get into trouble with flips. They're not looking all the way down the road to see every single bump that's going to come up, and then they're not prepared for it. I can't tell you how many houses I have seen, I've bought, I've seen sold, I've seen where a flipper runs out of money. You'll see that. Like all of a sudden this house is like half rehab and they ran out of money. What does that mean? Well, it could be in a lot of things, but I'm telling you one of them right here is they're sitting on it too long and they're just making these interest payments that are killing them. So these are the costs. So I'm going to go buy this house. I'm going to buy it for $55,000. That means Colin's got to show up with 16 grand just to play the game. Plus I got to have another 5 in the pocket. So I need 21 grand ready to go. That's not all the money I need, just so you know. But I'm going to go over that in just a minute. Sheet number 3, guys, is I'm going to show you when I sell this property, how much money I'm actually going to make. So when I make this, I'm going to sell it. Let's say I sell it for exactly what I said it was, $144. I'm going to have to pay the other realtor. So there is a commission involved. I don't have to pay myself, but there is at least 3% commission. Maybe you have somebody list it for you. If so, you change the number. But most of y'all will probably list your own house, and then you got to pay commission. If you're not, this number goes up to 6. But I'm going to keep it at 3% because this is my flip. This is the way I'm looking at it. When I go to sell the house, I'm assuming I'm going to be paying title insurance again, right? Because now I'm selling it, and that's usually what happens. And all the other title fees, I'm going to say for this property, it'll be somewhere around $3 grand. Now, I also owe my lender $99,000, so I need to pay him back, minus my interest payments I've made the entire time. I'm going to be taking home $32,000. But I had to show up with $15,700. So my actual profit, guys, is $16,313. With that being said, when you looked at this original table that I showed you, this is the numbers they always show you on HGTV. This is crap. As you can tell, when I actually, if I have to borrow money and pay commissions, I'm actually only making $16,000. I know that's really, really depressing to a lot of you. Okay, I know it is. Because you're thinking to yourself, Colin, you sold a $145,000 house and you made 16 grand. That's right. Here's where it looks sexy to me. Okay, this is the part that I like. I made $16,000. I had to invest 20 in order to make that. $20,000 came out of my pocket. Well, actually, let's do the actual numbers. So I did interest payments for 6 months and I had to have cash to close. So my total money was $20,500 that I had to spend that was not reimbursed to me. But my profit was $16,000. So if I take my profit, let's do it here. That right there, ladies and gentlemen, is a 79.52% return. It's a 79.52% return. That's insane because I did that in 6 months. If I do that a second time in a year, and I do let's say I do the exact same house, the exact same situation, right? Because I just got lucky and found the exact same thing. Sorry, I'm used to doing this. That means I'm going to make 159% return on my money in 1 year. There's not many investment vehicles that can provide that for you. That's what I'm trying to get at. There's not many investment vehicles. If you talk to any stockbroker guy or whatever it might be, they're always like, well, you know, our average return is 12% per year. Well, guys, I'm looking at 159% per year. Now, there's a lot of ifs. It's just like the stock market. The stock market doesn't always go up at 12% every year. It really doesn't. I mean, whatever, right? The funny thing is, guys, is if I'm able to find a foundation guy that'll do this for $8,000, I just made an extra 2 grand. If I can find, so this is where the flipping comes into, like sourcing materials. If I can save some money on my flooring, which I just found a new flooring guy, I can get my flooring cheaper and be able to save that. So every time I save a nickel, I go up on my percentage of return. But if I'm borrowing the money, guys, most people don't realize that when you borrow money, that's what eats you alive. I went from, I mean, it cost me almost $15,000 to borrow that money when it was all said and done. And it's all right. It is what it is. But it's still $16,000 that I didn't have based on a $20,000 investment. But one more but, you're gonna need more than $20,000 to do this project. You're probably gonna want $30,000 or $40,000 to do the same project. Not because you're going to spend it, I mean you are, but you're gonna need a little bit of a buffer, because when you borrow money with hard money, and I remember, if y'all remember when I was talking about this, he's gonna loan me $54,000, 100% of the rehab. But he doesn't just give me that check. That's not how that works either. I don't go to closing, take $15,000, and I walk out of there with a check for 54. No, I walk out of there with nothing. So as we go through this process, let me pull this up. Which one is this? Sorry, bear with me. That's Northfleet. Let's look at this one. I get draw reports. So this is a house that I'm flipping right now, 1935 West Woodlawn. So this was my budget for West Woodlawn. These are all the things I thought I had to do. It was a total budget of $31,000 to flip this house. What happens is I go out and I get my guys started and we do stuff. We paint the interior. We do flooring. We buy the flooring. We install the flooring. We build up the closet and prep. We install an HVAC. We remove the old cabinets. We buy new cabinets, right? It's line item, line item, line item for everything that I'm going to be doing. And by the way, in case you're wondering, this is what I turn into them. Guys, this is what I'm going to spend, $31,667. Here it is, line item by line item. So they take that, and then every time I call them about once every 2 weeks, and I say, hey, look, send your inspector out. So the inspector comes out, looks at my property, says, yeah, he's finished painting the entire house. He allotted $2,000 for the repair. So interior drywall repairs, paint interior. So these two right here, I said it was going to cost me $3,359 to do this. They come out and look and they go, yep, you did it all. And they cut me a check. So as you can see on this one, I didn't take a draw on this for a long time. And I finally said, I'm out of money. So I called them and they said, yep, this, and this are all done. So then they wrote me a check for $22,000. So I've basically spent $22,000 and then they give it back to me. This is the cash flow issue that a lot of people get into. That's when they run out of money. Well, I can't spend any more money to have the inspector come in and look. That's another game. That's why I'm going to say you're going to want some extra money on the sideline if you're going to flip. So that's how this one works. That's how I get money with my draws. So here's another draw report that I've got. So far, they've given me $27 out of $41,000. This house actually should be done this week. So all the rest of this stuff that's in here should all be filled out, and I should get 100% cash out, and I'm done. And then they come through and they take all these pictures, and they're like, yes, he did the electrical. Yes, we did the plumbing. You know, this was me refinishing a bathroom. As you can tell, it's not done, but it's like, hey, I'm kind of tired of spending money. Can I have some of it back? And that's what we're doing. So questions, comments, concerns as we get through all of this? No? All right, I'm going to show you all a pitfall too that also kills a lot of people. Next thing is I made $16,000 on this property. Woohoo! All right. Here's where a lot of people mess this thing up. Let me show you real quick. A lot of people underestimate this rehab, and it turned out it was a $65,000 rehab. Well, if I go up 10 grand on that rehab, I'm now down to earning $6,000. That's frustrating. Then there's this other dirty little piece of paper. Ta-da! The inspection report. So this house is one I've sold. It's currently in the option period. I got this inspection report this morning. Okay? Here's everything that's wrong with your house. Hey, one of the trees in the backyard's got some rot. Well, that's not my problem. The electrician did not secure this. Whatever it is, guys, there's always something, right? There's no drain pan. We didn't put a drain pan on the hot water heater. Whatever it might be. So then they come back and they say, hey, we need you to fix these things. So I'm going to caution you, if you're going to flip houses, do it right. Do not cut corners, because this right here is what will eat you alive, is this inspection thing. It will eat you alive if you're not careful. Because if you cut corners and you half-assed all of this stuff, and you got your brother-in-law who knows a lot about electricity to come in here and do the electrical work, you're going to get hosed at the end of it. So don't cut any corners. Now, the good news is the repairs that they actually asked for are going to cost me probably $1,500. So on my profit, I'm going to subtract $1,500 from that. So now I'm down to making almost even $15,000 in that scenario, right? These are not the numbers from that house, so it doesn't really matter. But I guess my point when it comes to flipping houses is you make money on the buy. If you don't like making $16,000 on a house you're willing to offer $54,000, reduce your offer. And then last point I'll make about flipping houses is you have to be insanely patient when it comes to flipping houses. You have to be so patient, because just because you see something and you have all of these wonderful ideas and you have all of this like, oh my God, this is what I'm going to do. And wouldn't this look so good with this kind of backsplash? And oh my God, wouldn't this look, it doesn't matter if the numbers don't work. It does not matter how beautiful your vision is if your numbers don't work. You have got to make sure that this is 100% correct before you ever get started. before you even think about making an offer. I told her my maximum allowable offer is, well, I didn't tell her it's $54,000. I told her I'll pay you 50 grand even for that house, plus I'll pay all closing. I'm trying to already save myself another 4 grand. That way, when I'm said and done, maybe I can make 20 if the rest of my numbers were correct. Now, for those of y'all that are rewatching this and looking in the future, if you come out and this number right here is $5,000, it's probably a bad deal. You have to also think, because I did work in some screw up. I put $3,000 in screw up, plus this foundation number I told you was probably inflated as well. And that's on purpose. Foundation can get away from me quick, but that's kind of how I do it. So questions, comments, concerns. Anybody got any questions now that we're in here? Hillary, I know you got here a little bit late. I wish you missed the, I know you missed the good part of it, because for those of y'all that just got in here, Corey, Hillary, we walked through this. We walked through what hard money looks like. Oh, by the way, this deal will not work at all if I'm paying 4 points and 12%. Watch how much the numbers change on this. I just went from making 16 down to $14,000. That's why shopping for a hard money. So you got to be able to look at this every time, every which way. Shop your hard money, guys. If you want to use hard money, if you've got cash, by all means, that's going to be your best case scenario when it comes to flipping a house. So who wants to flip this house with me? Huh? Nobody? Anybody in? Come on, Allison. I know you do.
I would if I had the cash.
And guys, that's what we sock it away. So the last thing, that's why we sock it away, guys, is you make your commissions, you sock it away, you put this money to work. Guys, this is all part of my 401k plan. I mean, I've got to be completely honest with you, because when I make this $16,000, if whatever this is, so I think I'm getting 3 points and 9.5 on that deal. So when I make that $16,000, I don't touch it. I use all of my commissions from buying and selling houses to live on. That's what I make my mortgage payment with. Everything that I do on flips or anything else like that, I just roll it back into it. So the last thing I want to say is, Colin, well, how do you take that $16,000 and I don't pay any taxes on it? Now, this would be taxed as regular income. So that's kind of a little frustrating. Since I don't need it, me personally, maybe you need it, I don't need that 16 grand if I were to flip this house. I'm going to save that money for the next property. So there's this little game you can play called a 1031 exchange. So if I take that money and use it to buy another property, I don't have to pay taxes on it. So now the way you do a 1031 exchange, guys, I am not a tax accountant, okay? I am not a tax professional. What you do is you contact somebody who does 1031 exchanges. There are companies, because you have to put that money in holding. You have so many days to identify your next property. Oh my God, what is it? 75 days, I think. And then you've got like another 100 and something days to buy the next property. So you have to say, I'm going to buy this property. And there's timelines set up, and there's companies that keep you on track for that. They hold the money in escrow and then they release it back to you. Now you don't have to pay taxes on it. Otherwise, you guys, you're going to be paying taxable income on this. Whatever your taxable rate is, that's what you're going to pay. So flipping's fun. I'm not going to lie. It's very stressful, especially on a property like this. As you can see, a lot of y'all are thinking, man, you made $16,000 on that house. Yeah, it's kind of tough. Here's what's interesting. Let's say she takes my offer at $50,000, and I can find somebody that wants to pay $60,000 for it, and I can wholesale that contract. I'd probably consider it, because I can wholesale a contract in 2 weeks versus flipping a house in 6 months. Mm-hmm. Just kind of depends. Are all flips this skinny? No. Are all flips, all flips are not created equal. Let's just put it that way. I can do a flip like this. If I can get this house for less than this, if I can get this house for 20 grand, ooh, child. Can you imagine that? That would be amazing numbers. Let's say if I get this house for, let's say I can talk my way into 20 grand. how much money do I make? Ooh, that's a lot prettier. I make $52,000. I like that one. Right? So the numbers change. How much are you willing to pay for it? What's going on? And how much money do you want to make? My whole point of this lecture is make sure you're looking around the corner. Make sure you have professionals that know this, because your rehab numbers are what will kill you. Always add in at least 5 to 10% for screw ups. And then if you're borrowing the money, make sure you know where you're borrowing it and how much it cost you. Because this is what most people do not think about. Oh yeah, you said you'll lend me the money. Well, is there enough money in there? Who knows? So if I actually buy this house for if I actually buy this house for the 50 that I offered her, I will be making 20 grand. So that's not too bad for me. I like that number on it because I'm making 20 grand off of the 15 I got to take to the table. So it's not a bad deal. All right, questions, comments, concerns, because that's it. Flipping's pretty easy. Just got to be on the lookout. That's it. Hillary, anything you want to throw in? I know you got a little bit late. I know you're excellent flippers. I can't hear you. Hold on, you got to unmute.
Sorry, I wanted to join because I saw it was about investing, but I was doing a buyer appointment, so I just got one. So that's worth it, right?
Absolutely. Yep. Not mad at you at all for
that. No, I mean, I missed a lot of it, but I mean, a lot of it I already know, but I just wanted to hear what you had to say.
What would you say? Because I know you and your husband have done a lot. I know y'all do a lot of rentals too, but on the flipping side of things, what is the number one thing you wish you would have known at the beginning that bit you the first couple times you did a flip?
It's really like my big advice for flipping, or just honestly any rehab, even if it's for buy and hold, is just make sure you're really conservative with your numbers, because I see a lot of investors right now that are like desperate to get an investment property, and they're just like, I don't know how these people are buying these properties, because I would never buy a property that's way overpriced thinking that like, oh, I don't need to put that much in, because you always need to have a conservative number, because there's always going to be things that come up. Like I see here you have your miscellaneous budget, and we always have like 5 or more thousand for our miscellaneous, and we're just super conservative with our numbers, because there's no investment property out there that's worth it to me if I'm stretching everything to make it work, because that's where you go under, that's where you get burned.
And that's one of the things you did miss is I think this foundation quote is really inflated.
Yeah.
I think it'd probably be less than that. That's why I brought this number down, because I felt like it was getting a little silly. But you got to be able to line on all this stuff, guys. You've got to stay on your contractors, because this number right here, this rehab number, is what will murder you.
Also, if you're doing investing with hard money, you want to get through that rehab ASAP, because you're every day that you don't have it on the market to sell, you're just blowing money. Like, so for instance, like I buy everything with private money. I don't use hard money because it's just outrageous in terms of fees and everything. But yeah, if you're using hard money to flip, you want to get it done as soon as possible. So stay on your contractors.
So fun thing that Hillary just said right there, I want to touch on. She uses private money, not hard money. What's private money? That means she's got somebody, moneybag somebody that is lending her money. When that happens, guys, she's probably not paying any points. So that goes to 0. And she's probably worked out, what would you say, 8%, Hillary?
Right now we're at like 6.6.
6.6?
No, like 6.25 maybe. Average.
Okay, so let's say it is 6.25. So she's at 6.25. She's probably not having to pay an appraisal fee.
I don't pay an appraisal.
There you go. And there's no other BS fees. So
I don't actually even have a down payment either.
Oh, so look at there. Okay. So this goes to 0. So check this out. So her $16,000 flip just jumped up to $26,000 because of the way she's getting her money. Now, how do you find private lenders? Oh, good Lord. That is a whole nother game. You better be damn good at what you do. You better be able to show a lot of past successes, and you're probably going to have to show a lot of past successes with hard money. Okay. So what she just said right there is getting that private money is going to save her a ton, 10 grand, as a matter of fact. That's unbelievable. Okay. Now there's it's a different game. She's probably paying interest on a lot larger sum of money, but she's got to keep that money turning. There's different ways to do this. I don't want to dig into her dirty laundry too much, but if you can find that deal, it's so much better. But if we go back to where my numbers were, in this $54,000 going over budget. Oh wait, no, sorry, I lost my track. Sorry. If we're back to my numbers, and I'm paying per month oh wait, no wait, my number was 9%. I'm paying $723 every day that this house sits around with nothing happening is costing me $25 a day just to look at the house. So like she's saying, if you hire contractors that don't stay on your property, like they come over, they demo, and then disappear for a week, that's $25 a day that's costing you for them to disappear. And that starts to add up very, very quickly. The other thing, guys, is I said that they're financing 100% of the rehab. If I turn in a budget for $54,000, that's how much they're going to give me. If my rehab number balloons up to $75,000, that means I got to come out of pocket for 21 grand. Trying to renegotiate that's a very, very tricky game. So this has to be as firm as you can possibly get it, and every nickel you can stay underneath, the better. I don't know. I found, like I told you, I just found a new flooring guy. I'm getting SPC for $1.79 a square foot with the underlayment. You can't find that anywhere else. Most people bare minimum you're going to be paying $250 a square foot. So that's a huge savings at the number of houses I do. So you're constantly looking for those kind of things. That's a big one right there. So be careful when flipping. That's all I got. Anybody else got any questions, comments, concerns, things you want to share? Because if not, I'm going to try and take this house down and I'll see what I can get it for. I'll let y'all know when it all comes down.
Yeah, let us know.
Oh, hey, Colin, I have a contract coming, a wholesale contract that ARV is like 260, 270, and we're getting it for like 160.
How
and
bad is it?
Like 40.
40 in rehab?
So I'll send it over to you once I get it.
Yes, please do, because I got to find that. I got that investor that wants to do that bigger one. By the way, that's a
Universal City too, so it's a good area.
Oh, yeah, I like EC. Another good thing, guys, I've known Hillary. I've known Marco, I guess, longer, but I've known Hillary now for, I don't know, 5 years maybe, right? 4, something like that. I don't know. It's been a little while. And they had a wholesale company. I have to be honest.
We still have it.
Huh?
We still have it.
Oh, yeah. They're one of the few people that I kind of trust their rehab numbers. When she comes out and she says, hey, it's 40 in rehab, I'm going to run the numbers with that. I'm still going to want to see the property because it's my money on the line. A lot of rehabbers, it's a joke. A lot of wholesalers out there, it's a joke. Oh, purchase price is $50,000 and it needs $3,000 in rehab. And I'm like, what? And you go over there and there's no roof. Oh yeah, you can get a roof for like $1,000. I'm like, no, you can't. They don't know. So trust but verify. But with wholesalers, don't trust. Just verify. Just go look at it. Hillary, I'll actually believe, when she says all that. But real quick, she said, let's take a look at that. Just my quick numbers, because if y'all remember, I said I want at least 25%. You said the ARV was what, 240?
No, like between 260, 270.
All right, we'll say 265. And y'all know I want to make at least 25%. So that means my maximum all in is 198. She's saying it's 40,000 in rehab. What do you know? 160 is what she said the purchase price was. So she's right at 75%. If her rehab number is correct. If you're wholesaling properties, I'm willing to bet that's how they came up with that number. Because something tells me she doesn't have it under contract for 158.
We don't. I mean, that's just the information I have. Marco's still working on it.
No, it's fine. But that's wholesaling, guys. Like she may have it under contract for 120.
I may have it under contract for like 50.
Yeah, she may have it under contract for 50. Can you imagine that? I mean, I've seen it. I've never bought one of those deals, thank goodness, because I would be mad if they're making 100 and I'm making $30,000. You're making 100. But that's it.
The negotiator.
Yeah, That's a good negotiator. And I got to be honest, guys, if I had a contract for 50 and I thought I could sell it for 160, I'd do it all day long too. It's easier that way. Except I double close it.
I don't, so you would know.
I know. Yeah, that's what I do like about y'all. Y'all are very honest about it.
I'm very transparent. You know what we're making. Everyone knows at the end of the day.
Yeah. Nothing will make you madder when you say, when you're going to a wholesale and you're like, hey, look, my maximum offer is 54,000. Oh, come on, man. Like, I need you to be at least at 56. And you finally bend, you're like, fine, I'll do 56. And then you see that they're making a $50,000 assignment fee. And I'm like, you couldn't give me $2,000 of that 50. Like I'm making 16 on anyways.
Well, we'll never be like that because we don't care about every penny. We care about like the long-term relationship with people.
That's exactly right. And I can't tell you how many wholesalers have done that to me. And I'm just like, and we're done.
Yeah. That's how you burn bridges quickly and you don't get the next deal or you don't sell the next deal. I don't care about $2,000. That like doesn't matter to me.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, that's how you flip a house. Don't forget about the inspection at the end. You're always going to have extra stuff coming out. And guys, you need more than what the hard money guys will tell you because you got to be able to spend it. So those are my booby traps. All right. Y'all have a wonderful rest of the day. It's 11 o'clock. Let's go sell something. I'm pumped because I'm going to go buy something today. I want to buy another house.